That's right. It's Kneecap Biting with Smokey and Jeremy B. I have my buddies here. I have Jeff over there in Montana. I have Wise Bearded Dad right here in the backwoods of Bertucky. And I have Kneecap Villain Keegan also in parts unknown of Michigan.
Grand Rapids, folks.
Grand Rapids. All right. And if Facebook user says, Smoking Jay, what's good, brother? Patty Grimes says, what's up? M1 Abrams, Pride Flower, Rainbow Heart, Pride Fire. Yeah, okay. Smithers says, Ayo. Right.
How's everybody doing tonight?
It's a fantastic night to talk a little Lions football.
Yeah.
And we're going to start off with Jeff. I'm going to go clockwise with the first subject, and then we're going to be counterclockwise on the next subject. James Burgess says 28th and Beltline. That's a nice area, too. King SJ says hello from over there in Canada. Damn you and your damn air polluting wildfires, King SJ. Why did you have to throw that cigarette out in the backwoods? Just kidding. If I can't give somebody crap, I'm not me. But our first topic tonight is who is your comeback player for the Lions in 2023? We'll start with Jeff.
All right, yeah, I'm going to have to go with Jameson Williams. You know, obviously coming off an injury, didn't get to play much last season. And then you start off the season with game suspension. Excuse me. So, I mean, the dude's electric. That's got to be my comeback play right there.
All right. Kneecap Villain Keegan, who you got?
Well, I'm surprised. I wasn't surprised when you said this, but Derrick Barnes. He showed glimpses last year, but he had that slump. Now this year in OTAs, he's doing great.
Wise Bearded Dad.
I have to go to the offensive line and talk Big V. He's when he played guard, he was playing at an all-pro level. He injured his back last offseason and pretty much has had a whole year to rest up. And you look at where he's going to be at between Frank Ragnow and Sewell. So I think he's got good people around him. I think he's going to be playing at that all-pro level again.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, before I go, Facebook user says it wasn't a cigarette. Patty Grimes says hello from Grand Blanc. And James Burgess says, I'll take Pascal as my comeback player.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you for the O-lineman. I have a topic for later.
Okay, good.
Nice.
My topic, my person on this one, Tracy Walker III. Yeah, once he left the lineup in week 2 or 3, whenever that was, teams were able to run all over us because he was not there to stop at the second level of the defense. Eric Dalton says, I have Julian Aquara as my comeback. For some reason, I see something in that kid. And Eric Dalton says, I have Julian Aquara as my. Oh, yeah, he said that. Facebook user. Sun God is going for 1.5K receiving this year. Book it. Walker coming back strong would be a welcome sight. Detroit versus everybody. Smithers says, I'm ready to get some wins. I like it, Smithers.
I don't know. I don't know if Sun God will go for 1.5. I mean, you've got so many weapons. They're going to be spreading that ball around, I feel like.
Yeah,
I think he's going to stay right around the 1,000, maybe 7 to 10 touchdowns.
Smoking Jeremy. Accusing me of throwing out cigarettes.
LOL, King SJ says, Smoking Jeremy accusing me of throwing a cigarette lamp in my ass. I was seriously going to ask you how the impact in Michigan was from those wildfires. And, well, the actual impact is everything's hazy. You saw it today at the Tigers game. Even though it was mostly a clear blue sky with light white clouds out there, it was a haze.
Yeah.
Smoking RLB. That's Crusher. I know who that is. There was a wildfire in Grayling, too. Yeah, so it's all, if you look at the aerial map from space over the United States right now, from Canada down to North Carolina, there's like a haze over the whole United States.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So the next topic is Derrick Barnes is taking first team reps in all of the OTAs so far. What do you think of that, wise bearded dad?
I think it's just, you know, off season. They're not going to give it to the rookie right away. I think they're going to make him earn it. You know, I'm talking about Jack Campbell, obviously, but I would be surprised if Jack Campbell isn't starting in that spot by the start of the season.
Mm-hmm. All right. Kneecatville and Keegan?
You said Derrick Barnes, right?
Yep, Derrick Barnes.
Well, I would say he had. I was drafting Campbell and picking up UDFA. UDFA. He had to perform well, or he wouldn't make a roster spot.
Right.
Which he's doing now. He's fighting for that roster spot, and he'll probably make it on the outside, or inside.
Jeff?
So from what I understand is Malcolm Rodriguez has been on the sidelines lately with a minor injury.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of the reason he's getting it. Also, I think that they're working him out as much, kind of like Keegan had said. They're working him out more to get a good look at it. Because that linebacker room added, you got some depth in there now. Even with a guy like Trevor Nowatzki, right? Guy out of Saginaw Valley.
Yeah,
So,
I like
you've
him.
had quite a bit of depth in that room. You got a first-round linebacker to be drafted, who I anticipate being the starter week one. We'll see, but that's kind of my guy. So yeah, I just think it's just trying to get a better look at Derrick Barnes.
Well, Derrick Barnes had a very bad start during that 7-game stretch, but that's because he was used more in coverage in Aubrey Pleasant's passing scheme rather than delegated to pass rush duties and tackling. And once he got freed up when we went to more of a zone defense later on in the season, he started to show signs and was showing some flashes, you know, with the exception of when they had the wrong cleats on for that terrible field in Carolina, which all of them looked horrible in.
Yeah.
I mean, no one could tackle anybody when a team runs for 350 yards against you. That's horrible. But I like what he's showing. I like the heart he's showing. Jeff Risdon has talked high of him. Tim Twentyman's talked high of him. Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn have both talked very high on what Derrick Barnes has done.
I mean, if he could play like he did in that Green Bay game where he stood fucking A.J. Dillon up on the goal line.
That was impressive.
The power back that he stood his ass up. Yeah.
All right, and I'm going to address the chat real quick before we get to the next chat. James Burgess, I think Barnes might be relegated to pass rush duties only, which is decent at. Patty Grimes says trade bait. James Burgess says exactly, JB. He is not a cover kind of LB. Smithers, any opinions on the off season this year? Jeff, you want to answer that one?
Any opinions on the offseason this year? Is that what you want me to answer?
Yeah, like the acquisitions and stuff we got.
Oh, shit. I mean, phenomenal. You've completely changed your defensive backfield. Completely changed it. You added O-line depth. I mean, and then in the draft, you added some electric players like Jahmyr Gibbs, 4.36 speed, who also has been lining up at the X wide receiver position from what I've heard coming out of training camp. I mean, yeah, phenomenal offseason.
All right, Egan?
Love it. All the new additions. The Gardner Johnson signing for cheap. Love it. Love it all.
Wise bearded dad?
I mean, I don't see how you can't like it. I mean, at the same time, like, I can't look at a part of that team and say they haven't improved it. I mean, every single position group in that team you could say is going to be better next year. I don't. I absolutely love it, especially like Jeff said, the defensive backfield.
Okay. I personally, we added a top 25 corner in Cam Sutton, which is something we haven't had since Slay left because of Patricia. We added Emmanuel Mosley, who's in the top 32, so he's not far behind him. We added depth at the linebacker room, which we have never had. We added two big guys, two of the biggest guys we've had since Chris Spielman and Steven Tulloch, who wasn't that big, but he was heavy set for his frame. I think he was a 230-pound back at 6'1", which is kind of big when you're only 6'1", but it's not.
The discount double check injury, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, when he was after he sacked Rodgers, he celebrated and got hurt. Yeah, we've had that happen a couple times to players, though. Patricia, LOL, you're welcome, Jeremy, from Eric Dalton. That being said, question from Jaguars fan Travis Holmes: how are Lions feeling about having Marvin Jones Jr. as their wide receiver 2 for the first 6 games of the season? Well, he is one of the best wide receiver 2s and 3s around, except for last year, because you guys were deep at wide receiver, and the explosion of Zay Jones as the 2 later on was pretty good. I mean, yeah, Marvin Jones has lost a step. He's not as fast as he used to be, but he is still a route technician, which is what he always was when he was here, and he has very sure hands. So I think it'll be fine, because I think he'll be switching out from the slot to the 2 with Jahmyr Gibbs from here and there.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at some of the wide receiver groups we ran with last year due to injury. You know, Josh Reynolds out there leading the pack. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Khalil
I mean,
Raymond filling in roles. Marvin Jones is going to be a good veteran leader, leadership in that wide.
There's 3 injuries that'll derail this season offensively for the Lions. Number 1, of course, is the quarterback, Jared Goff. Number 2, it's David Montgomery, because if Jahmyr Gibbs has got to be a bell cow back, it's not going to be good. And number 3, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Does anybody disagree with those 3?
Well,
No.
I would say Montgomery, because what I've been hearing, Ibrahim is coming in for Reynolds right now. And
yeah, I'm talking about if Montgomery gets hurt, Ibrahim is not on that level yet. He's a rookie. He's an unknown. You can't put him as good as Montgomery.
I'm saying if you look at
it looks like Jeff is froze.
He might be.
Yep.
I would say the other guy I would add to that is if Hutchinson goes down.
Yeah, on the defense, it's Hutchinson. Yep, he'll be back.
I
already know.
That's the main one I'd really worry about. But as like you said with Montgomery, absolutely. I mean, Reynolds and Abraham could be somewhat of a power back, but I mean, I don't know if they can make up for Montgomery.
Yes.
Yep. Facebook user, that must be Travis, agreed that if Amon-Ra St. Brown is absolutely number 1 on that list, teams would just play a boatload of cover 1 if he goes down. Yeah, and Eric Dalton goes in, nope, you are spot on. Any significant injury to those 3 will be a nut punch. I love his.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, wait, we got to give him one on that one. That being said, next topic I got for us. Open up the book. Which of the 2023 rookies will have a sophomore slump or sophomore improvement? Wise bearded dad.
I'm going to go with a sophomore slump, and this might be a little bit of a bold take, but I'm going to go with Kirby Joseph. I think he might have a little bit of a slump, and the reason being it's not any fault of his own. It's just that secondary is much more improved. There's a lot of other guys back there. I don't know if he's going to get all the playing time he was last year, and I mean, he balled out and got 4 interceptions, but is he going to get 4 more this year with Gardner Johnson back there, Walker back? I mean, it's hard to say.
Yep. I think they're going to use him more as they start to move Gardner Johnson, Branch, and Tracy Walker into that Viper role, moving them up forward. They're going to use Kirby Joseph still as that center fielder in pass coverage because he's good at it. He's going to be on the field in those long passing situations. And I wish we played the Jets this year because, he is Aaron Rodgers' favorite receiver last year.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
He said, how about that? Kirby Joseph is somewhere down there.
Yep. That being said, who do you have as you think Kirby Joseph for the slump? Who do you have taking the big rise?
James Houston. You've seen how many sacks he was able to get, just with his limited playing time, and now it's like he has a full season. So you could be able to rotate him with Hutch and Kaminsky, and Pascal. But I think he's going to get. I wouldn't be shocked if Houston is pushing for double-digit sacks this year with a full season.
Houston and Hutchins both will. That's another story. But Sophomore jump, Mitchell. Sophomore slump, Emrod. I kind of agree with that myself. But Keegan, what do you think?
I would say I kind of agree with Jump with Mitchell because I have a feeling he might be tight end 2 or a fullback in a role, and he's a good blocker. And then my slump would be who? My slump. It's another guy now. I can't think of my slump right now.
Okay.
It's on top of my head.
My slump is Malcolm Rodriguez with that injury to his lower body, and they're not being detailed about it, but he's been sidelined and not participating over the mandatory OTAs. He's been there, but he hasn't been participating. I think that's going to hurt his development. He looked great last year, but if you look at his numbers, he was a good backup middle linebacker is what he was.
Yes.
He was
Oh,
not
yeah.
strictly starter material. There was a few weeks where he was one of the best rated rookie defenders, and that's great. He's going to have those flashes because he's that much of an athlete and he's that much of a competitor. And I think it'll be more of the same this year. You'll see a couple of games where he shows out, and then you're going to see quite a few games where he kind of disappears because of his size. I'm sorry, when you're
Yeah.
5'11 and 220, going up against 300-pounders, you're not going to do a lot of tackles for loss.
No, absolutely not. And I mean, he played great in spots, but it's like I don't know if he's like you're saying. I don't think he's an every down linebacker.
Put it this way: he only played. He had 6 more tackles than first-round pick Devin Bush. He had 5 more tackles for loss, and he had a couple of turnovers and forced fumbles, which was great.
Yeah, I mean, he played great, but at the same time, like I don't for a starting linebacker every down. I don't know if he's that.
I think it's the size that makes it bad. And Smoking Dad comes in and says, "What's up, guys? Your grandson should be back shortly. I hope. He's having a little internet issue."
Oh, my slump was Houston. Like Wisebeard said, with the corners, we added more. I'm saying we added more edges, and he's going to have to fight to play.
I think he's going to be a situational pass rusher. I think he'll be used in second and third down passing situations is what they're going to use him in. They're not going to put him in on first down because he struggled against the run.
Yes.
But in those pass rush opportunities,
he's going to make the
no,
best.
I don't disagree with that at all. And I think, I mean, you look, he had 7 sacks last season with not even being a situational pass rusher the whole season. You had a whole season of that, I think he could easily get double-digit sacks.
Oh, Russell Wayne of the main event wants to join us.
Who?
Russell Wayne of the main event. And James Burgess says, "Hi again." And Eric Dalton says, "Yeah, Rodrigo needed this OTAs. It's going to hurt." Yeah, it absolutely will hurt his development. I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat right now. And I think it's going to be great. And yeah, Houston is going to get more than 78 snaps this year. No slump, my man. He had 8.5 sacks, remember? It would have been 9, but they gave half to Hutchinson because they kind of creamed Justin Fields at the same time. I'm just saying.
Wasn't those 78 snaps because when the Okwaras or Pascal was hurt?
That don't matter. Pascal is more of a run stuffing DN. Smoking Dad says, "I had my 43rd anniversary 2 weeks ago and realized I wasn't the boss at home. As a matter of fact, I don't think I ever was, but I have seen the boss's job and I don't want it." Facebook user, comeback player of the year is Jared Goff. He come back down to earth being Jared Goff, LOL. In Ken Ballrick. Hey, James, that's Smoking Dad. Man,
I don't know what's going on with Jeff.
Yeah, I'm getting scared. +1 to Ken, LOL.
Bigfoot knocked his internet out.
Yep. That's for Dad. Oh, there he is. Did you scare Bigfoot away so your internet don't drop out? King yesterday. Yeah. He says, oh, we got an echo.
Yeah.
It's not on me.
I don't believe it's on me either.
Let's see if I'm right. Your earbuds are like picking up, the microphone's picking up your speaker too. For some reason, they're not connecting, but oh, there it goes. It went away.
There.
And
Okay.
Smoking Dad or Smoking Grandpa to Jeff says, "Hi, Jeff."
Hey, Grandpa. No, I had to disconnect the headphones or something to get it going. But
Okay.
yeah, when you live off grid and you try to do podcasts, sometimes your generator runs out of propane.
That'll do it too.
Propane and propane accessories.
Oh, and here he is, the man of the hour. We are joined by none other than Russell Wayne of the Main Event 365. How you doing, Russell?
I'm doing great. My first experience with a restream. This actually looks really, really cool, guys. I'm digging the man cave.
Yeah, thank you. So my topic was, so I'll get you caught up here, is which of the rookies will have a sophomore slump and sophomore improvement
Oh wow. Yeah.
from last year?
I mean, from last year, what do you think? Who had a sophomore slump?
Who's going to have the sophomore slump and who's going to excel?
Oh man, a sophomore slump. I don't know. I mean, really, all these guys are trending in the right direction. I don't know if I would want to call any of them on a sophomore slump. I like Kirby Joseph. I think he's going to take a huge step forward. I like Aiden Hutchinson to take a huge step forward. Jameson Williams is going to kill the league when he comes in week 7. I'm just going down the line here. Maybe James Mitchell, just because they drafted Sam Laporta and he's kind of down the depth chart, maybe, but he didn't really have any big season to slump.
Right.
So,
right. I think he'll be right in his role where he comes in to help at fullback blocking and also tight end blocking.
But now, actually going through it, I'm going to say Malcolm Rodriguez is going to have a sophomore slump, and only because the depth that's there. Derrick Barnes seems to be coming on. That's what they're saying in training camp and all that. And yeah, Malcolm Rodriguez, and I don't think it's going to be his fault. I think he's just going to slip back in the depth chart because Jack Campbell's such a stud.
Russell, you son of a bitch. You almost read my mind on exactly what I was going to say.
Well, I mean, what else is there? I mean,
not because of him. It's not going to be because of him. I think he'll still see the field if he drafted a linebacker in the first round.
Yeah, you want him to be the future. You definitely want Jack Campbell to get a restructure 5 years down the road after he's been an All-Pro 3 years in a row. Yeah, that's what, and that's not.
Oh, sorry. Malcolm might be a special team stud.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was a special team stud at Oklahoma State. So that's not that far of a take because you remember his first 2 years, he was a backup safety playing special teams his freshman year, and then his sophomore year is when he became a starting safety, but he bulked up so much due to weight lifting in wrestling, they moved him to linebacker for his junior and senior year.
Yeah. And so that's good though. You want depth. I mean, if you want depth, you got. I mean, when was the last time we had depth at the linebacker position?
Eric Dalton. Somebody has weird interference. Sounds like someone dropped a vibrator in a metal can. Oh, it's gone now.
Stop playing with us.
+1.
Oh man, maybe I can't see James Houston regressing. He only played a half a season and got 8.5 sacks, so I'm sure that he could improve upon that.
Yeah, with only 78 snaps, he had 8.5 sacks. Oh, it's yours that's getting the interference there.
It's mine.
Yep, I hear it. Got like a digital thing in the background.
It's got a cool little, yeah.
Does it sound
Maybe
good?
we were making like a techno song or something.
And now you're getting spotty with your voice.
Yeah, let me try to.
Bigfoot's back.
Sophomore Breakout, Aiden Hutchinson for Facebook users. Sophomore Slump, James Houston. I don't think Houston will get a slump because he's going to play more snaps than he did last year because he wasn't even active to what was it, week 11?
Yeah, so he's gonna, play like 8 more games in the season. So, yeah. It's hard to think of a regression. I mean, a regression to me for Houston would be 10 sacks.
Yeah, if he gets to play second and third down passing downs every game in every series, which I think he will, because Romeo Okwara is not really the pass rush guy we saw his contract year. He's never been that. He's normally a 4 or 5 sack guy. He's more of a run tackle for loss guy.
I don't know. He looked pretty good last year. He comes in first game, gets 2 sacks,
then disappears again.
And then that's all right. I mean, other guys got to do their jobs too, and I think they're playing really well as a unit. They complement each other well. That whole defensive line.
And Julian Okwara can slide to outside linebacker, but I think the Okwara brothers might be in danger of losing their spot.
I'd say at least Julian Okwara.
Yeah, because he can't stay healthy. Smithers says, how would you rate the draft this year? Overall, I give it a top 10 rating, and I'd say a B+ grade overall. But that's the way too early grade because you really can't grade a draft 3 years down the road.
I love the draft grades. I think it's fun just because you get to do it. But there's no way that you can really grade it until they play, right? I mean,
exactly.
I called it the way too early draft grade because they haven't played on the field in an actual game yet.
Yeah.
Last year's draft, if you go by what we got on the field from them for the first part of the season, you'd swear it was an F. But after it excelled from week 8 on, you have to give it an A- minimum.
I think the league should be scared of Jahmyr Gibbs because if they draft a guy that high, that obviously means that we plan to use him an awful lot. So I'm thinking I just love having a fast guy like that. But I think 8 to 10 catches a game, and then like you're talking, he probably won't get a lion's share of the carries or anything. He'll probably get 7 to 10 carries a game, but they're gonna. There you go. Get him out there in space, man. He's gonna be an outlet. He's gonna be Goff's best friend right there. Him and Jahmyr.
I mean, he's gonna get like 15 touches a game, and there's gonna be some explosive play in most of the games he plays in. That speed, you can't coach speed.
Nope.
No, that's the thing. He's got such speed that defenses are going to have to pay attention to him wherever you line him up at. He's got that game-breaking speed, which he's faster than Swift.
I mean, he's faster than
speed.
I mean, he's got Chris Johnson speed. I mean, when you look at the 40s, I mean, he's 4.3 speed guy. The guy's you're gonna be looking at the back of his jersey if you let him get to the third level.
Just right. J-Mo and Jahmyr are on the field together.
Exactly.
As far as
that's going to be a lot of speed.
How about Monty and Jahmyr on the field at the same time? Because Monty's going to be the bell cow. I don't know if anybody has any unmet expectations there, but Jahmyr's just going to be put wherever Jahmyr needs to go against their weakest dude.
Yep. And James Burgess, here you go. What I thought was the coolest about Gibbs is that the dude runs routes like he's already been in the league. Yeah, I've said this. I mean,
you like that?
He was used like that. Now, here's the next take, and we're going to start with Jeff on the bottom here. Chris Sims had another bad QB ranking for Goff this offseason.
It's my quarterback.
20th overall behind all 3 first-round rookies, Justin Fields and Jordan Love?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Chris Sims, he likes to do some hot takes every now and again. Lions been getting a lot of attention. Everybody's been paying attention to the Lions, ranking them high in the NFC. making them contenders for the NFC. Chris Sims just trying to make some noise. I mean, I'm not a guy that's going to put Jared Goff in my top 5. I think I got him just out of the top 10.
It's my quarterback.
But I mean, come on, man, that's ridiculous.
Still was behind everybody I said. I'm sorry, it was 17. I was off.
Oh yeah,
Still,
17.
it's way too low.
I think Tannehill was above him. Kirk Cousins, there's no way you put Kirk Cousins above him. I mean, they showed
playing with us.
They showed their pretenders last year. Come on.
James Burgess. Again, I don't give a shit about idiotic takes on Goff anymore. It's their God-given right to be stupid and remain that way.
It's my quarterback.
Hey, Keegan, what did you think about it?
I just want to see big. I don't care about people listing quarterbacks if they're. I don't care if they're listing any small names or listing quarterbacks. I just listen to the big names. All I've been hearing is Stephen A. Smith is on the Lions hype train right now.
Playoffs.
You talking about playoffs?
We're talking about it. Oh man, I'll jump in on that. Gosh, I mean, Fields or Love. I mean, it's one of those unproven things, and it's scary. You know, I'll take the side of it that we're not talking about is the elephant in the room. I mean, what happens if Nate Davis and DJ Moore turns Justin Fields into him, that guy? Because
with bubble screens.
That's a scary. I mean, him getting out of the pocket. That's what do you think DJ Moore does? That's what he does. Is he takes shitty quarterbacks that get out of the pocket, and then he's there, and then he makes something out of nothing. So he's been a quarterback's best friend. I mean, who do you have in Carolina? Like the corpse of Cam Newton, like Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield,
Minnie
PJ
Mouse.
Walker. I mean, come on, dude. Like, and he still was a top 15 wide receiver. So it's like, it might be good. So that's kind of scary. Love is kind of scary too. He's got weapons. I mean, what if he's good? What are we going to say?
Right? Wise bearded.
Shoot, he's good.
Let's get Wise Bearded Dad's take on this.
Well, when it comes to his list, I don't know what metric he's using to make this list because, for instance, Tannehill, Geno Smith, Dak Prescott, Cousins, Daniel Jones, and Justin Herbert were all ranked higher than him. And here's the thing. Here's the one thing Goff has over all of them, a much better playoff record. So what are you basing this list off of?
Yeah.
They can escape the pocket, and it's exciting for 5 plays a game. So they don't care about the other 95% of the game where, having a guy that doesn't screw up is very valuable. So,
but that's the thing. That's just for views. If you look at stats, Jared Goff played like a top 10 quarterback last year.
Well, yeah, he was a top 10 quarterback. I mean, you can't even dispute that stat wise. The only reason they rank these guys out there like that is because they have feelings. I feel, look at him. I feel. It's like, no, you play with the team that you have, and he's playing well with the team that he has. The end.
Yeah. The thing that got me is how do you rank Geno Smith higher than him? And he's like, he's had one solid year.
Out of how many years? How many years?
Because of his
out of how many years?
I mean, it was last year. So, I mean, that's everything.
Last year, he did have as good, if not better, numbers than Goff. So you can't, other than interceptions, he's been more interceptions.
But again, that's 1 year of that type of production. Goff has been to a Super Bowl. He has a 500 record in the playoffs. Geno Smith has never really been in the playoffs till last year, and he lost. So what are you basing this ranking off of? Just last year's stats? And if that's the case, how is Daniel Jones ahead of him?
Right.
I get because he whooped that ass. I mean, how could you put Daniel Jones? I'm sorry, Jeremy.
Yep, that's okay.
I actually have to hop off here because my wife just got home. I just wanted to pop on and say hello.
Hey, it was great.
Yeah, nice talking to you, man.
I'm sorry to be so quick, but I figure I'd drop in and say hello. And yeah, I'll probably see you on one of the Monday show when we get in there at 11 o'clock. So
yeah,
right.
I guarantee I'll make 11 o'clock every week.
Russell Wayne, main event 365, Detroit Lions Villain Squad. Peace out.
And Eric Dalton told him, bye, dude. And Smithers says, with all the hype around this roster, what happens if we don't make it to the playoffs? Does Campbell get canned immediately or what? Not that I think you will see a revamp of the assistants immediately because of what happened last year and how the turnaround happened with Dan Campbell there. If this offense doesn't perform at its consistent top 10 level again, you won't see Ben Johnson either way. I have the feeling he'll be a head coach next year. That's just my opinion.
I think it's situational, right? I mean, if you don't make the playoffs and Jared Goff goes down, you know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, like if it's because Goff got hurt or Amon-Ra's hurt or David Montgomery has some type of injury in the first 3 or 4 games and we start tanking statistically because of one of those injuries, I don't think you can hold the coaches responsible for that because lack of talent is lack of talent.
Yeah. I don't think he gets canned, though, either way. I think if we they're too in love with Dan Campbell. I think
the players love playing for him. I think even if he does, if Goff gets hurt, they will be better. They got Hendon Hooker, who may not be available till October or November. Remember, he had the same injury that Jameson Williams did, and we didn't bring him back till November when they said he was medically ready in October.
Yeah,
and I mean, I like Hendon Hooker, but is he ready to come in and play even by that time? Like, I think he really needs a full off season.
I mean, he took some snaps and threw to receivers running routes in pajamas today.
Yeah, you don't rush a quarterback. You don't rush that.
They didn't have him running at all. He was standing in spot like in a shotgun formation, getting the ball hiked to him.
Or the baseball machine with footballs, like the football machine or whatever.
All right. Wise Bearded Dad, what is your parting shot this week?
I guess the breakout players for offense and defense.
Okay. Who are yours?
Mine for offense, I'm going to go with David Montgomery. I think at a minimum he gets 1,300 yards rushing. I'm not trying to be too much of a homer, but if you look at it, he's never had an offensive line that ranked over 20th. The Chicago Bears never had anyone in front of him, and even when they were at the 20th, he rushed for over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, no fumbles, and now he's going to a top 3 offensive line, arguably, maybe top 2, depending on how good Big V comes back. I think he could easily get 1,300 yards rushing, no problem.
All right, Jeff?
I think I already said mine earlier, didn't I? Jameson Williams take?
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean.
And who's your defensive guy? As a breakout, not a comeback.
I'm going Josh Pascal. I think, I mean, you only got to see him in limited role last year. There's an opening at that interior defensive line spot, and I liked what I seen out of him in college. I look for him to take a step forward next year.
That's a good take. All right, Egan.
I'll say the hell with it. I think you see Hutchinson do amazing things last year. He even had like 2 interceptions. I think he's going to have more tackles and more sacks this year because he won't be dropping any pressure that much. And he's Aiden Hutchinson. If you watch his tape at Michigan, man, he's a stud.
Hey, speaking of that, what's everybody's sack number for Aiden Hutchinson next year? What's everybody think?
I'm going to say 12.5 minimum.
I was going to say 13. That's pretty close to where I was at.
That's where I'm at. But my breakout players, offensively, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think he could end up with about 700 yards receiving and about 500 to 700 on the ground. He could end up with a 1,500-yard season overall.
Oh, yeah. I can see it
on
absolutely
defense,
with that speed.
On defense, I'm going to go with the guy who cut 13% body weight and didn't lose a pound in Aleem McNeil.
That's
Oh, wow. That's a nice one. I don't think I gave my defensive one, did I?
You didn't give your defensive one.
Oh. My defensive one is going to be cornerback Emmanuel Mosley. And the reason being is, like, before he got injured, he was playing at an all-pro level, and it's like he's already back with working with the team. I mean, if he wouldn't have got injured, I think he was going to get a big payday from the Niners. So I think he comes in, and I think he's going to have a breakout season just to show, like, hey, I mean, he's on a one-year deal anyway, so he kind of has to perform to get paid.
And by the way, who did I say out of the UDFAs would be the first one on the active roster? Do you remember?
Nowoski? Is that what you said?
Joseph?
Mo Ibrahim?
It's the guy who cleared waivers, Katoan Thompson. I said it last week, and it happened because he cleared waivers on Saturday. He is on the active roster.
I thought it was that corner, Starling Thomas or whatever.
I think he makes the right. Guy. Hey, Jeff, what's your parting shot?
I already did.
Okay, you did your whole parting shot.
Yeah, I talked about. Oh, well, let's see. Jameson Williams.
Okay.
Yeah, Jameson Williams. The fact that he got suspended 6 games for making a bet in a fucking hotel room on an away game is ridiculous to me. The NFL needs to get this shit figured out. I get it. I mean, he bet on March Madness in a hotel room. Okay, your hotel room is the equivalent of going home for the night, right? You're not in the Lions facility. What a crock of shit.
Egan, what do you think of that?
I agree. NFL needs to get their stuff together with all these. And plus, you said that there might be more.
There will be more. There will be more. Isaiah Rodgers was the next one, and he basically eliminated himself in his tweet about it because he knew he was caught because he got an email from the NFL. He said he let his coaches, his players, the teammates down and everything else and blah, 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 blah. This big, glowing, gushing, ex post facto, I fucked up Twitter.
Sixth round pick trying to save his job.
Yep. Wise Bearded Dad, what do you think?
I don't understand how the NFL can call a private hotel part of an NFL facility.
When the room is paid for by the team, it is considered NFL property.
It's still a crock.
Now, hear me out on this.
Yeah,
What if you're telling me Jameson Williams paid for his own room? Does he get a pass then?
I think he would get a pass if he'd paid for it himself.
My question is, though, is like, how clearly was this rule defined? You know, if they said, hey, if these are the circumstances, okay, then I kind of see the NFL's point. But at the same time, you could make the case that is not a team facility.
Oh, yeah. And James Burgess, I already said that take last week. I think the player who has not been at OTAs, mandatory or the voluntary ones, has been Michael Badgley. I think he's the other player on.
The Badger rolling them dice, boy.
Yeah, I think he's the one. I think he's the one that is under suspicion of gambling, and more than likely will be the next one suspended as a Lion.
Or even cut.
That's just my take. That's my take. That's who it is, because that news saying a fifth Lions player was being investigated for gambling happened 8 hours before we traded for Patterson.
Yeah.
And he hadn't been at OTAs yet. But
might be right.
That being said, it's been a back and forth battle between JPR, the XFL kicker that came in, who's been bombing kicks from over 50 yards at a nice 70% clip. And Patterson is matching him and even beat him a day.
Well, Patterson was kicking pretty good last year.
Yeah, Riley Patterson was, yeah.
I'm surprised that they got rid of him. I'm surprised that,
I can't believe we got him for that cheap.
I wonder if did he freeze again?
Yeah, it looks like he froze a little bit again, but that's okay. He should come back real soon. I'm going to say that's total bullcrap. Williams gets a 6-game on a property not owned by the NFL. Holy crap. Yet you can drink and drive and only get a 2-game suspension. Yep.
I mean,
there he
that's
is.
the NFL's logic right there.
Yep. But I'm going to go the Tom Brady road. Did you hear what he's doing now?
No, what's he doing?
He's setting up his own gambling symposium for players
Thank you, Brady.
Good.
And to inform them about gambling and all the rules and all the nuances and the fine print that nobody pays attention to. Because that's exactly what got Williams, is fine print. Rodney Fouch, I was kind of wondering when they traded a pick and brought Patterson back. I'm just saying, it's just my feeling and it's my opinion that's what's going on. And is it? I don't know. I haven't read a report that says it is, but it's just awfully convenient in the timing of that trade.
Yeah, we'll find out here pretty quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
That being said, my parting shot. If this Lions team stays healthy and we don't get at least 10 wins, that is when Dan Campbell may be on the hot seat. But it'll be for next season, not this season.
I agree with that. Yeah, next season. He won't get fired this year, but next year it's like put up or shut up.
Yep. This year,
I absolutely agree with that.
Make it and win a game or two in the playoffs. If you make it to the NFC Championship game, holly freaking Luya. And then if you make it that far, I say go all the damn way. Don't lay down like you did in 91.
If we make it to the NFC Championship game, I might have to break down and fly back to Michigan to watch the game with the fellas. I mean, shit, I might.
Hey, I'll host a watch party right here.
If they make it to the NFC Championship game, Dan Campbell will be able to. Dan Campbell's not going anywhere. I'll promise you that.
Dan Campbell will have a gold statue put in place of Joe Lewis's fist.
Ooh, that's hot. Muddy,
I think if he wins the Super Bowl,
that's my
bold
hot take.
Yeah, if he got the Lions, maybe they'd put it next to it.
If the Lions win the Super Bowl this year, guess what? Jared Goff gets a gold statue right outside the stadium.
With that offensive line, just get that starting offensive line. Panay Sewell, Taylor Decker, the boys up there.
Speaking of offensive line, did you hear anything about Jonah Jackson?
Rodney Fouch, I am in Burton, Michigan, just outside of Flint, Rodney. I am not scared to say where I am. I have no reason to be.
Jonah Jackson came out and said he'd like to be a Lion
for his entire career.
Hell yeah.
So that means that's a guy that was, what, a third-round pick?
Yeah.
And will probably be in that $8 to $12 million guard pay because he's left guard, not right guard, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
He'll probably accept that $8 to $10 million for it.
I'd be all right with that. Shit.
You grew up on Grand Traverse and Atherton, Rodney. Guess what? I work at Brandon Tire at Grand Traverse and Atherton.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that area.
Oh, yeah.
I used to live on Albert over there, right off of Brunswick.
Good old Flint town.
Well, That's pretty much everything. Keegan, do you got anything you want to say?
I would say things are heating up.
Yes, sir. It is that time of the night when I got to give those shout outs, and y'all all know where I'm talking about. I got to give my shout out to Gloss Negron, my sponsor. He is the window tinner for A1 Tire Cucaulin up there in Bay City on Cucaulin Road. Go up there and check him out. He starts at $200. Wise Bearded Dad. Go ahead and plug whatever you want to plug going forward. I think you got a show you're thinking about coming out with.
I'm just going to be pretty much putting out a video, letting my channel know that I'll be doing these shows for the foreseeable future until at least training camp, and then I'm going to try putting more content out on my channel, but I'll be sticking with this for right now.
Fantastic. Jeff, anything you want to say before you head out?
Yeah, hey, if you guys like what you see, I think Jared and I will be on here on Fridays. We talked about for here on out, unless something happens. And if you like what you see, hit that like and subscribe button, just like every other YouTuber said. Like, subscribe, and share, boys. Come on now.
Keegan, what's your goodbye take?
I would say, like Jeff said, hit the subscribe button. Let's get. What is your sub count right now, Jeremy?
I am at 240.
You know what? Let's get to 300.
Yeah, I'd love to see that by next week. But you know what? I'm happy with the 10 a week growth. 10 a week growth is 40 a month. 40 a month over a year is over 400. That's
That's
great
nice.
growth. That's great growth. I mean, the fact that I've only been on a year and a half and I'm sitting at 240, I'm shocked at.
Yeah.
That's 18 months. That's more than 10 a month.
Keep growing.
And that's all I want to do is keep growing. That being said, I am also a part of Let's Talk Sports and the Sideline Sports communities on YouTube. They have great content. They are going to start putting my content all on during the night hours because they have their own streaming TV channel on Sideline Sports. So start looking for them to download my shows and be on there. Kneecap Barbecue Day comes September. I like it. I'd rather do it in August during the preseason. That way we can all go tailgate
Yeah.
when the season starts.
Interesting.
Other than that, what I want to say is what I always say. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before, because that's the only way to make the world a better place. This has been Kneecap Biting with Smoking Jeremy B. For my guests, Wise Bearded Dad, Jeff, and Kneecap Bill and Keegan.